Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Today I have a subscriber interview, one that I've been trying to get the time, my time and his time kind of mesh and be able to do this interview, which I'm very happy I was able to finally. Before we get into this subscriber interview, a couple links. As many of you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. Merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support the channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because all of these things really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. Folks, they are appreciated and they do matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, everyone. Tonight I have a researcher, YouTuber, and new friend, new subscriber of the channel. Not a new subscriber, but new friend. And we had been talking for a little bit, and he is familiar with a lot of the locations that I have talked about on the channel. We actually just were talking about a connection that I had just put together. His name's Harley Owens, and his YouTube channel is Bigfoot Reports and Data. He's had a couple of Bigfoot experiences. He's also had a Dogman, one visual and one not visual, in Cocke County, Tennessee, where I've spent a good year and a half researching Tony Aarons and Amber Miller. And I'm very excited to introduce Harley to you guys. So, Harley, how are you?
I am doing extremely well, and I'm glad to be here. You know, it's been a long time coming, and we made it happen. And, I'm just looking forward to sharing a little bit of knowledge that I've maybe gained and trying to raise a little awareness, because the good public deserves to know that there is creatures running around in our national parks, and it's the only thing right is get the truth out, and you're doing a fantastic job at it.
I appreciate that, and you are actually where I wish I could be. I live in upstate New York in the Adirondacks. I have one area that I can explore, and that's where a missing 411 happened. But you are in this region that I consider to be a part of the 5-state hotspot, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky. And, you've got some pretty interesting experiences. I'm going to be honest, this is actually the second kind of take that we did, because he had mentioned something and I had to stop the interview to verify and ask him, and then we put it together, and I was like, that right there is where 2 years ago Virginia was having a bunch of missing people and a bunch of people being found in caves, deceased and torn apart. So, Harley, I'm just going to turn the mic over to you so we can get familiar with you, and then people can go and check out you hiking through the woods in the Appalachia region. So,
yeah. I used to be a skeptic, non-believer in this type of stuff. Well, September of 2020, I worked at an auction company at this time before I became a lineman. So we went to Pound, Virginia. I was up there for 2 weeks. Now, this is a week prior to me having the experience. It was me and another friend of mine up there, and we went up to get stuff ready for this auction that we were going to have. We rigged sawmills, took apart sawmills and all that stuff and auction equipment. So a week prior, we got up there and we're talking to this guy, and he said that he had a bear rummaging around through his dumpster. And I was like, was he a pretty good sized bear? He said, yeah, he's pretty good size. Well, he said, but there's far worse things in these mountains than that. And I'm just like, well, what the hell is he talking about that's worse than that? And I jokingly thought Black Panthers, because I always heard the stories of Black Panthers running around, and I've heard them, and quite frankly, it'll make you piss your pants. Now, going on the rest of that week there, nothing happened, and we had the auction on a Saturday, and my boss came up to me. He said, you want to stay up here another week? And I said, yeah, I'll stay. And he said, all right, I'm going to send these other guys on down the road and get ready for another auction. So I said, okay. Well, Sunday rolled around, and I was sitting there in the hotel, and it was raining. I was like, well, hell with this. I'm not going to sit in here and wait. So I went out to the job site and worked a little bit, what I could do, because I had paperwork with who all bought what, so I could just organize stuff with the skid steer. So I went out there, and I got some pallets out, and I laid stuff on the pallets for who bought what. The bigger stuff I couldn't do nothing with because I didn't have torches or nothing like that to cut it all apart. So I was sitting there, and I got done. I was walking around the wood line looking, and I was just like, well, that's a big foot. Now, I'm 6'6", and I wear a size 12 boot, and I was sitting there and walking around looking, and I'm like, now that's a big foot, and there's the stride along up through there, and I'm like, okay, I took pictures of a couple of them in the mud, and I was like, okay, this is probably nothing. I was like, it's probably some homeless person. Well, Monday, nothing happened. Tuesday, nothing happened. Wednesday, September 23rd, 2020 was the day that literally changed my world forever. So I get out there early morning. I was supposed to be out there at 7, and I got out there like 5 minutes after 7. There was already a guy at the gate, and I was like, well, shit, I hope he wasn't here long. So I got the gate open and went down in this holler, and I got the second gate open. We get to the sawmill, and I get out, and I get the skid steer, and I loaded, 2 or 3 pallets that he had, and I sent him on his way, and then nobody showed up for the rest of the day there, and I went to the skid steer, and I sat down until around lunchtime. I think I was playing Angry Birds on my phone, not 100%, but I went to the cooler, and I got my peanut butter sandwich and my Coke, and I heard the growlish grunt, and I was like, well, what was that? So I looked towards the wood line, nothing. And then I grabbed my Coke and my sandwich, and I heard it again, and I looked up on this cliff face. I could see it moving along this cliff face, and I was like, well, that's that bear. I just seen a black shadow moving through the brush, and I was like, that's that bear. So I'm sitting there looking, and I look down, and I look back up, and it's leaning out looking at me, and I'm just like, I knew instantly what it was whenever I was looking at it. I was like, that's a Bigfoot. These things are real. People aren't crazy. The only thing I knew of to do was pull my phone out, take a picture of this thing, and when I did that, because I knew if I was going to video it, it would have already been gone. So I pulled my phone out, took the picture, and the phone was a brand new iPhone 8 Plus, and it literally was just drained of everything it had. So I'm standing here looking at this thing, and it turned around and just took on back up the ridge line. So I'm sitting here, and I'm just like, holy cow, I just seen a Bigfoot. So I put my phone on the charger in the truck, and I'm trying to keep an eye on things, and I'm trying to get it to come back on. It comes back on, and I look, and I have the picture. So I'm just like, holy cow. So later on that evening, it was right around dusky dark, and that's when they started hollering back and forth with each other. And, I got almost 2 minutes worth of audio that night after I seen this creature. Then next day rolls around, I'm back out there. There was nobody out there that whole day. I didn't have anybody come pick anything up. So I'm sitting there, and I'm walking around looking, and I find a trackway from where this thing came down from the ridge and came down into that sawmill area, and I was just looking like, holy cow, because I'm 6'6", and these tracks were every bit of 16, 17 inches, and, I I've got long legs for being 6'6". I'm all legs, but it's this stride between those. I couldn't do it. Then later on that evening, right around the same time, after dark, they started hollering and yelling and screaming, just all kinds of different sounds, unlike anything I'd ever heard. But of course, people were telling me, "Oh, it's elk. Oh, it's coyotes. Oh, it's anything other than what it was," and it was Bigfoot communicating with other ones, And I had 2 audios that were 15 minutes apart. Now I had a spectral analysis done of this audio, and it was from the range of 200 to 2,000 hertz. So 200 to 2,000 hertz was the audio of the spectrum that these creatures were vocalizing in. So it was unlike anything I had ever heard.
Right.
Now, the next day was the day I went home, was a Friday. I went to a drive-in called Robo's, and I was talking with these old-timers, and I said, "Well, you old boys ever seen anything weird out here in the mountains?" And they was like, "Well, what'd you see?" And I said, "This." I showed them the picture. I showed them the photo and video of the tracks, and, and I let them listen to the sounds, and I was like, "Oh, well, that's devil monkeys." And I was like, "So that's a Bigfoot?" And they're like, "Yeah, devil monkeys, wood boogers, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, mountain giants, it's all the same thing." I was like, "Well, okay, that's cool. Thanks for verifying that." Well, I came home just to face nothing but, "Oh, that's a shadow. Oh, that's elk. It's coon dogs. It's coyotes. It's anything other than what it was," which was a photograph of the Bigfoot, photograph and video of Bigfoot tracks, and vocalizations of multiple different Bigfoot. So, and I went years without sharing my experience, until I mustered up my fear, about this time last year, and start sharing my experience. And, well, at Thanksgiving of last year, I mustered up my fear to go back deer hunting, because after that experience, I didn't go deer hunting for 3 years. And, I mustered up my fear this past Thanksgiving, and I went out and I killed 8-point, and I was like, okay, you know what, I can go out and look for these things. Well, December 7th, I started my research, but I got to give credit where credit is due, and I looked at Bigfoot research in East Tennessee, and lo and behold, Scott Carpenter's name pulled up, and I was like, okay, so I looked at his YouTube channel and all that stuff, and unfortunately, he had done passed away, and I kind of kicked myself in the butt. I was like, well, maybe I could have done this sooner, but, God works in mysterious ways, and, I started my research December 7th. Now, I didn't know what I was doing. So I went out there, and, I just went out there and I videoed, hiking. And this apparently is a location that Scott Carpenter only went in once, and he never went back field researching ever again. Now, my first time in there, I was like, okay, all right, this place is spooky, okay, it's 27 degrees that morning. I'm out there freezing my ass off. And I'm like, well, I'm just sitting here like, what the hell am I doing? So I was out there for maybe 2 hours at the most. And I get home, and I'm just hearted. I'm just aggravated all day. I'm just like, well, what the hell did I do wrong? And, I got 2 hours of footage to go through. I'm like, well, I'm doing something wrong. And, I went back on YouTube, and I watched Jeff Scott watch his videos frame by frame, and I was like, okay, all right, well, maybe I need to do that. Jeff, I'm telling you what, I wasn't even 2-3 minutes into the video, and I get a Sasquatch just sitting there looking right at me, picking out through the balls. You can see the iris, you can see his eyes, you can see his nose, you can see his mouth, you can see his conical shaped head, just sitting there in the laurels. He's got tan-looking hair, and it was unbelievable. I was like, holy cow. I showed my wife. She said, holy crap, that's a face. I said, yeah, that's a face. You can see the gray skin on his face, and it was unbelievable.
Right.
Now, and a week later, that was when I had my second experience. I was surrounded by 3 of them. So I go out there, me and my wife, and we hiked up, and then we're on our way back out. Now, I had my pistol on my right-hand side. So we're walking back out, and she said, look at that. She said, that looks like something out of a war movie. And I'm like, what? She said, those sticks broken up and sticking up out of the ground over there. I said, okay, I'll go check it out. I said, stand right here on this main trail. So I went over, and I'm looking around, and I'm like, yeah, this is something, because right in the middle of these. There was 2 logs laying flat on the ground, and there was about a 3-4 foot gap in between those 2 trees. But you could see where something big was laying in between those 2 trees, and I'm like, holy cow! So I stepped it off. It was almost 8.5 feet, and I was like, well, that's not a bear. There's no black bear to my knowledge. It's 8 feet tall. Standing up if it was. I was like, this has got to be a Bigfoot. So I'm standing there looking around, and I'm talking back and forth with my wife, which I'm about 30 yards away from now off the trail, and I heard something moving along to my right, and I was like, I hollered at her. I said, stand right there. I said, there's something moving over through here. I said, it's probably a bear. So I started walking along back through there where the noise was coming from, and I come across this huge game trail. I don't know if elk are using it or what, but it's a pretty good-sized game trail. Now, I'm standing in the middle of this game trail. I'm just like, I need to look right. I have this gut feeling I need to look to my right. So I turned, and I looked, and there it was, this reddish-brown Bigfoot, and it walked right in behind this tree, and I was just like, holy cow, this thing's right behind this tree. I don't know what it's going to do. I said, it's either going to come running after me or something bad's going to happen. I just knew something bad was going to happen. This thing steps out from behind the tree, and he's looking straight at me. We're looking face to face at each other. He squats down, and he crouches in behind this bush that's beside that tree. And all of a sudden, he peeks his head out of the bush to look at me. I can see him. He's got black eyes, he's got gray skin, he's got reddish brown fur, he's got a little bit like a beard going on. He's just sitting there looking at me, When I was locked eyes, when we were looking back and forth at each other, we were about 20 yards, 25, 30 yards away, somewhere in that range. And all of a sudden, to my left, there was a loud pop and a snap. And I was like, oh, crap. But then, instantly, right behind me, there was stomping, just like stomping in place. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going back to the trail. So I took off. I got out of there pretty quick. I was like, babe, we got to go. We got to go. We got to go. So I was kind of raising my voice a little, yelling at her. I was like, we got to go. We got to go. So we got out of there, and and I was just like, there's some kind of intelligence there, because when I turned and I looked at that first one, I never seen the other 2, but when I turned and I locked eyes with that one, my gun was on my right-hand side, so I had one to my left and I had one behind me. These things are very, very intelligent. So I was like, you know what, this is crazy. So, and January 7th, I had my third experience, and I actually had somebody with me, and I made their first experience with Bigfoot happen. But I won't really go into that one too much. But he had never seen a Bigfoot. I took him out there, and we were within 20 yards from one, and we named him Alfalfa because it was snowing and raining on us, and his hair was sticking up on top of his head, so we named him Alfalfa. And then just June 23rd, I think it was, I had another guy out with me. He's from North Carolina, and we went out. We've seen not one, but 3. We've seen 3 different Bigfoot. We've seen 2 black ones and a red one. And he had never seen a Bigfoot either.
Was this all in Virginia?
No. These most recent ones have been in East Tennessee here in Cocke County. Okay. All right. Just the first one was in Virginia.
Okay. All right. So, now he sent me some pictures. I'm going to include them at the end of this interview. I'll have them at the end so you guys can see them. Harley's link his link to his channel will be in the description below. But, now Cocke County, Tennessee. You and I talked a little bit beforehand, and we talked about the Amber Miller, Tony Aarons, which really actually took a mental toll on me. And that's where you had your Dogman experience, if I'm not mistaken, right?
No, it's actually where I have run into the Sasquatch at.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was January 29th of this year. It's further up the mountain from where I've been running into the Sasquatch, but I think I'm going to go out to my normal research area January 29th of this year. So this is in the mountains, right on North Carolina. I think I'm going to go to my normal research area.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go to this normal area that I've been going in, which was a month at that time. I started December 7th, and a little over a month, January 29th of this year. I think I'm going to my normal spot, which I don't. I go to a completely different spot, and, I've been told that the Sasquatch were in that area. They escort people out of that location. I was like, okay, I'll go try it out. So I go up there, I get to this first area, and I find a couple of signs of the Sasquatch being in there. I find these asterisks made out of trees, and I'm like, okay, this is not some hikers doing this, because the trees were probably 3-4 inches around, and the trees were just snapped off and just made into perfect asterisks. And I'm like, okay, all right, this is a sign. So then I get to walk around there some more, and I find rock stacks and stacks of 3, and that was another significant sign for me, that there's Sasquatch in this area, because Scott Carpenter had said, they associate with 3s. So I get out of that first area. I'm like, okay, there's some signs here. I'm gonna go further up the mountains. I go further up the mountains, and I go across one creek, and there's this old woody rinkety-dink bridge. I go along up through there some more, and I crossed 2 more wooden bridges. Then I go up, and then I come back down, and I cross this culvert that's kind of washed out, and I go up the hill. Well, the trail winds off. The trail to the right wasn't maintained by Park Services, so I was like, heck with it, I'm going up the mountain towards the waterfall. Now, I'm walking along up through there, and I find a game trail that cuts across the trail. And I'm like, all right, so I'll go right towards this game trail. And I'm walking around this game trail, and I'm looking, and I find 2 twist breaks, and that's a significant sign for the Sasquatch, because it takes something with hands to twist and break the tree. Now, one of these trees was about 8.5 foot off the ground. It was twisted and broke facing down the mountain. The other one was about 12 foot off the ground, twisted and broke facing up the mountain. And I was like, okay, this Sasquatch sign right here, I'm going to run into a Bigfoot. Well, I get further up the trail. I come to a curve in the trail, and I'm walking, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to check my phone. It was 5:30, I believe, or somewhere around that time. I had 30% battery. I'm like, okay, all right, I'm good. I'm just going to ease on up here a little bit more. Well, by that time, it was starting to snow a little bit, and I was getting cold. I just had a hoodie on and my jeans and my muck boots. I didn't have a beanie or nothing. It was starting to get cold. I was like, okay, I'm going to cut it short here soon. Well, I get around that curve. I checked my phone again. It said 10% battery, and it shut off. And I was like, oh, crap. I'm glad I sent my location to my wife from the satellite. Now, I turned around. I come around this curve, and I'm walking. I didn't get 20 yards from around that curve. I heard something behind me to my right moving. I said, okay, all right, I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn, and whatever it is going to be there. Well, I stopped. I turned, and I locked eyes on it. This dark brown wolf with the brightest yellow eyes that was looking right at me, and I was like, oh, okay, this is not a Bigfoot, this is something else. I knew instantly when it was, whenever I saw it, because I had learned about the Dogman prior to this, and I'm like, okay, these things are legit. So this thing pushes itself off the ground with its forearms, and it takes 3 steps, and it's 15 yards away from me. Now, I'm sitting here looking at this thing. It's dark brown. It's got ears like a German Shepherd. Its nose is kind of smudged into the snout. And its hands were very raccoon-like. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. But the weirdest thing to me, this thing had a big poofy tail like a fox, and it had a mane running down its neck. But the weirdest thing to me about this whole ordeal was most cases you hear about Dogman having backwards-facing legs. This one that I've seen, it had forward-facing legs like a human. It was unlike anything I'd ever seen. But I will add, when I looked into this thing's eyes, it was not a good feeling. My life is just flashing before my eyes. My wife is going to move on without me. My kids are going to grow up without me. Everything negative is just going through my mind. and it's got one of its arms propped up on the tree, and it's like playfully trying to grab at me with its other arm. I'm just like, oh crap. So I'm like, I got to get out of here. So I backpedal about 10, 15 steps, and then I book it. And I'm running, and I'm trying to get the hell away from this thing, and it's chasing me from off the trail. Now, I go down the hill, and it jumps across the creek as I'm going up the hill. I'm trying to keep an eye on it out of my peripheral, and I'm going along up through there, and I come back down, and I cross the first creek, and then I crossed the second wooden creek before I get to the last creek, and I'm almost positive that's when it stopped chasing me. I don't know, but I do remember at some point stopping hearing it chasing me. But let me tell you, I never moved so fast in all my life to get out of the woods, And I told everybody, ever since that experience, you would rather run into a Bigfoot than one of these things, and they're fast. Like, I went back February 2nd, I went back to that location. I had 2 other people with me, and we got a size on this thing. It was 8 feet tall, not including the ears. It was almost 4 foot at the shoulders, and its head was 16 inches across. Now, this is the kicker right here. From where it was laying to the tree it was at was 28 feet, and it took that in 3 steps. That's an 8.5 foot stride.
Yeah.
Huge. It's insane how fast these creatures are.
Yeah, that's...
So here's the other kicker. That spot where the Dogman was at, the compass was spinning in circles. And here's another kicker. So I was looking on my maps, and apparently there's 2 cemeteries up there, but they're older than dirt because I have not seen any headstones up there.
Right. Yeah. So they love to be around cemeteries.
But here's this. A month prior to that experience, December 17th, I got a still capture of that Dogman on my back trail camera.
Really?
Yep, one of those still captures that I sent you
Yep.
was that exact same Dogman.
Which I'll have up at the end of this interview so everyone can see it. That's incredible. That is very, very interesting. And that was at a location that you hadn't been to before.
No, that was my first time in there, and I've only been in there a second time, and that was a follow-up to get a size on it. And I have not been back since.
Okay, yeah.
So I had the experience January 29th. I went back February 2nd, and I've not been back since.
Yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. Now was that the second? What was the second experience that you were talking about?
Oh, so this one is a doozy. This happened April 28th. Now, this did not happen in Cocke County. This happened in Knox County.
Okay.
20 minutes from downtown Knoxville at Forks of the River, WMA. If you've ever heard of that.
No.
Okay. Well, I've got a little backstory behind this place, too, so you better strap in.
All right.
So, now, me and my stepdaughter's dad went out turkey hunting on this particular morning, April 28th this year. We went out turkey hunting. Now, we got out there about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Sun was starting to come up a little bit, so we get out. Now, we get out, we walk out that way a little bit on the trail, and we hit the owl cone. Well, we had 2 toms gobble off in the distance, and we was like, okay, we're going to have to walk a pretty good ways to get to these toms. And we were looking on a map, trying to pinpoint where they were at, and we were guessing they were back in them big fields along the creek. Well, I say creek, it's the Tennessee River, Holston River or something like that. But, so we're walking along out through there, and we hit it again. We're trying to find these birds, and after the sun came up, they shut up. Not another sound out of any of them. So we're walking along back through there, and we find these big fields, and we're trying to find these birds, and we just gave up. So on the back of this property along the river, there is a shed there where the wildlife management area keeps their equipment, like their tractors and stuff like that, to keep the fields mowed down for dove hunting and stuff. So we're going in the woods right behind this WMA shed. And Hunter was in front of me, I was behind him, and we were walking up this old creek bed that comes down from this little ridge. So as soon as we get to start going up this creek bed, like we weren't even 15 yards into the woods, there was something starting to follow us. And I'm like, okay, this is great. How am I going to break this to him? Because that's like, there's something following us. It's bipedal. I can hear it. So we're going along up through there some more, and I'm trying to just be as quiet as I can so he will hear it. And we're going along up through there some more, and we get to this point in the creek bed where we come up out of it. So we come up out of this creek bed. We had to grab a hold of this tree that was laid down over, and we had to pull ourselves up out of it. And we walked maybe 10, 15 yards after we got out of the creek, and he stopped. And I said, what is it? He said, I hear something. I said, yeah, it's been following us for about 20 minutes now. He said, no way. I said, yeah. So at like 9:38, 9:36 a.m. on April 28th, I took 3 photographs. Bang, bang, bang. One to my left, one straight in front of me, and one to my right. And I'm just like, okay. I said, let's just go. Because I was looking. I had my phone down below my face, and I was just looking. I took 3 pictures. Bang, bang, bang. Now, we get out of that area, and he brings me home, and he drops me off, and I get to looking for those pictures. I looked at that first one, nothing. I looked in the second one. Well, that tree where we pulled ourselves up out of that creek bed, there was a large canine head looking at us. Now, this thing was standing in that creek bed. So we had to pull ourselves up out of the creek bed. So it's untelling how big that thing was. So it was unbelievable. I sent him the picture. He said, dude, what the hell is that?
Right.
That's a Dogman.
Yeah, you said you were 6'6", so if you're pulling yourself out of the creek bed, that thing is a heck of a lot taller than you.
Mm-hmm. It's wild, man. Just looking at the photograph of that thing, it is not a natural creature by any means. You can see this muzzle, you can see these eyes, you can see this pointed ears. The best way I can describe it, it's like a giant pit bull. But I don't know how I physically did not see that thing. Because I had my phone down below my face. I was looking in the directions that I took the pictures. I should have seen that thing standing there.
Right.
But I didn't. And yeah, I think that when these things are close, I think our cameras can honestly pick them up 100%. I fully do.
Yeah. Yeah. And, like I said, when we were talking too, is, when we're out in the woods, we necessarily don't, we're not aware of what is around us constantly, like there are, animals all around us when we're in the woods that we are unaware of. If they don't want to be seen, they're not going to be seen. We're in their habitat,
Exactly.
They are adapted to, and not just Dogman or Bigfoot. I mean, all wild animals, they're adapted to being stealthful in that environment, and a predator more so. So yeah, that's incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah, man, it was unbelievable. And I was like, I come out here turkey hunting. I didn't come out here for research or anything like that, and for it to just show up like that. I mean, like I will say this. Chuck Carpenter said a line, and I can't forget this. He said, if they know that you know, and I'm like, holy cow, this is unbelievable. These creatures, beings, whatever you want to call them, they know that you know about them.
Yeah.
It's like you open your mind, your vision to a whole another reality, so to speak. It's crazy. It's all unbelievable.
Yeah, they're well aware that we know that they are out there. Now, you, like you said, you live in Cocke County. this just validates a little bit more of what I've had and talked about on my channel. And we were talking about Jimtown Road. You told me when I had brought up a subscriber that they don't allow anyone down Jimtown Road by that homeless encampment anymore.
Nope, they've got signs up. No trespassing.
That's incredible. So pretty much that right there, they were aware of those things out there. And, finally they did something about it.
Oh, yeah, they had like a bulldozer in there or something because they got their ground all tore up. They've been doing something in there, what, I don't know, but they've definitely been working down in that area.
How far from Charles Owensby's house to that location? How far is that? Like
I'd say 3-4 minute drive.
Yeah.
If that. I mean, it's not far at all.
Yeah.
And for one of these creatures to walk that distance, it's nothing.
Minutes, like not even minutes, just quick.
Yeah.
And you've been there. You said specifically, what's your feeling when you went down Jimtown Road? What was your feeling?
It's a negative. It's very, very negative. Like I just feel like there's eyes driving, like watching me when I was driving down through there. And it's even scarier at night. I will add that.
Yeah.
When you drive down there at night, it's like darker than dark. It's not good.
Yeah, it's a very desolate road. I mean, like I said to you, and I said it in the upload too, that you are at a place that I wish I could be at, because you're pretty much in the center of this area that I consider to be a hotspot. And, for people that don't know or haven't even looked at like a Google map of Jimtown Road, the road is desolate. There's not a lot there. When you get past his house, it's just woods and a couple rambled up shacks in the woods, and it's really a creepy area.
Yeah, and they've got the little river that runs right down through there too. Yeah, I mean it's nothing. You've got houses here and there, but it's not far from the national park. For these creatures to get there.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in like Del Rio and all that stuff, because I've been to Del Rio a couple of times, and I've noticed that there's Sasquatch in there, and there's a theory that I'm working on, that the Sasquatch and Dogman, they're not enemies, they're coexisting together and working together, so to speak.
Yeah, I've had a few people talk about them coexisting, working together, or living side by side, like not constantly feuding with each other, I guess the
like
best
LBL,
the best way to describe it would be like two different Native American tribes, you know what I mean? Like
it's like symbiotic relationship.
Yeah, they'll go to war with each other when they have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Why would two apex predators benefit from killing each other off when they can just work together and, be both at the top of the food chain?
Yep. Exactly. Well, Harley, it was awesome talking to you. I'm going to end the interview. Don't hang up because I want to talk to you for a minute more.
Oh, I forgot to add something.
Absolutely.
So at that Forks of the River WMA place that I had that second experience, that I had somebody reach out to me that had a Bigfoot experience in Cherokee National Forest. He was escorted out by a family of Bigfoot.
In Cherokee?
He was in Cherokee National Forest, yes. Wow. In Tennessee, yeah.
Yeah.
He was telling me that he grew up around that Forks of the River WMA in Knoxville. Now, he had a friend, and I can try to get you this information if he'll be willing to talk about it, but he said that his friend was out there with his dad helping him hang tree stand.
Uh-huh.
And he wandered off from his dad. He was in high school at this time or something. Now, he went out and he wandered off away from his dad, and he found this cave. And he heard something moving around in the cave. Well, then he said what looked like a gray werewolf came out of the cave. And the guy that told me that, he was talking about the picture that I have taken from there. And he said, dude, that just shows you that there's a population of these things in here. You know, and this is 20 minutes from downtown Knoxville, a highly populated area.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in Cherokee. Yeah, I've numerous.
Oh, no, this isn't Cherokee's further north of Knoxville. That's like going up 81 more.
Okay.
This Forks of the River is like in downtown, it's close to Knoxville.
Oh, okay. Huh. How, like, what? How close would it be to the, like, suburban area?
15, 20 minutes. That's like I said, you know, and then right there at Forks of the River, WMA itself, those houses are all around through there.
Wow. That's incredible. You know, there was that's Knoxville or Knox County or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because there's that, I don't think it was Knox County, but in Tennessee, there was a body found in a cave about 2 years ago. And then 6 years prior, in the same location, another body found in a rather suburban kind of area.
I believe it. You know, and these things are starting to make their way more and more into populated areas.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you know, and they're starting to muster up their courage, you know, and come out. I wouldn't say courage, you know, they're mustering up whatever it is, you know, that they ain't being shy anymore, and they're coming out. Also, I'll add this in there. Also, whenever I was younger, we had 16 hogs. All of them were about 250, 300 pounds. I can't remember how old I was at that time. But one night, the dogs started going crazy, and the hogs were too. And I went down there with Dad the next morning, and our hog pen, all the hogs were killed. Not ate on. All of them were killed with huge claw marks, you know, and they weren't ate on. You know, it was a very, very grim scene, you know. And my dad, you know, the fence wasn't broken or nothing, you know, to explain bears or anything like that. You know, something climbed over the fence and killed all these hogs. You know, we had 16 of them, 250, 300 pounds, and they were all dead. Not eat on nothing.
What was the cause of their, like, what were there marks that on the bodies?
Oh yeah, there were claw marks. Yeah.
Huh.
My dad jokingly said Bigfoot, and he's never talked about those hogs again. He's never had hogs since that happened.
Really?
Yeah, he never got hogs again.
Huh. And then not to be eaten on too. That's
yeah. 16 of them. Not a one of them was eaten on. Just killed for sport.
Yeah, that's almost more Dogman than Bigfoot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, and I'm, you know, I kind of just want to be like, Dad, you know, this is what killed your hogs, but you know, Dad, you know, they don't talk to me anymore. You know, since I've seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I'm sorry for that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's part of it, man. You know, I've come to accept what it is, you know, and I just want to give people a safe space, you know, because quite frankly, I think encounters are going to be more and more inclined to be on the rise here since the way that the world's going. You know, I think it's going to happen. So
yeah, definitely. Well, do me a favor, don't hang up, guys. Go check Harley's channel out. I was actually, the reason why I said Charlie was because the county that I was talking about that caves was in Cheatham County, Tennessee. I was going to tell you that after.
Oh, that's out past Nashville.
Yeah, that's like 4 hours from where you are. But
yep.
that it was two bodies 6 years apart were discovered. I had talked about it when it happened, when the first or second body was found, but I just talked about it a little while ago. And it was funny because, well, it's not funny, but these kids were walking out in the trails and they found a shoe. And then they went and they found a femur bone. And then they went into this cave and they found a body torn apart, part of him resting against the wall of the cave, his clothes over here, clothes there. They called their parents, called the police, this, that. And then the mom makes a statement. The news guy goes, "Are you going to let your kids play out in the woods now that you know something like this has happened?" And the mom's like, "Well, how many times, or, sure, I'll let them, continue to hang out in the woods because, it's not going to happen again. It only happened like once." But little did she know, 6 years prior, almost in the same area, like a quarter of a mile difference. Yeah, it happened before, and it was just a terrible, terrible thing. That's why people should be aware of their surroundings.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you could walk right by one and not even know it. And that's why my back trail camera. When I record by hunting, I don't know what I'm going to walk by. The Sasquatch will just peek their head out every now and then, or if I just turn around while I'm in an area, like some of the times I just turn and there'll be a Dogman right there. It's never a dull moment. Yeah,
exactly.
I have hours and hours of back trail cam footage and I haven't even run through yet. I'm young and I'm stubborn and, and I get way too much footage. And then now I'm here like, man, I got way too much footage to run back through.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, guys, thank you, Harley, for coming on. Guys, check out Harley's channel, Bigfoot Reports and Data. And he's got a lot of video out there. Give him some support. And I'll put the photos that you sent me at the end of this interview. I want to thank you again for sharing your information with us, and I appreciate it. Do me a favor, don't hang up, but it was awesome talking with you.
Hey, Jeff, it was a blast talking with you as well, and I look forward to coming back on in the future, my friend, and I want to encourage everybody, stay prayed up.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, brother, don't hang up. I'll talk to you in a minute.
All right, brother.
All right, folks. So Harley and his channel's link is in the description below, or Harley's channel's link is in the description below. We talked about some pictures that he wanted to share with you guys. Those pictures are going to be right here, right now. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope y'all enjoyed today's upload, today's interview, as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I'm glad we were able to connect finally. He reached out a couple months ago, and with everything going on in both of our lives, we were finally able to connect. Really nice guy, and it was a pleasure talking to him. So I hope you guys enjoyed the interview. I hope that you guys enjoyed those photos. And I hope you guys go over and support him. A really nice guy. With that, thank you for supporting this channel. And it is your support that helps this channel and gives people like Harley a chance to share their experiences and theories judgment-free, just simply treated with the respect that we all deserve. Everyone, please stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, our pets, our family, and friends. Our children, because they're the greatest gift we are given. Our pets, well, God's greatest security system. And our friends and family, those nearest and dearest. Share this information with the people you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth. And God bless.